Hey everyone, I'm Larry Walsh. This is Changing Channels. I'm actually recording this podcast on the road, so forgive the poor lighting and the strange background. We've all been here before, but I want to talk with you today about the topic that we just can't get enough of: artificial intelligence. And AI is radically transforming the way businesses and individuals operate. It's taken the mundane out of work, creating higher levels of operational efficiencies, expediting processes, and unlocking value. And in the channel, AI promises to make the go to market relationship between vendors and partners easier and more profitable by automating resources and processes, as well as giving each more products and services to sell. And all of this is music to the channel because, God, the partners really do want new opportunities. They are not immune to the effects of commoditization. So, with every product that is actually falling in value, they need to find the next new one that's going to come along. And there are a number of companies out there that are really racing at breakneck speed to create that next new generation of product, next new generation of opportunities for partners. And one of them in the artificial intelligence segment is ServiceNow. And it's at the forefront of this AI revolution. I mean, ServiceNow is probably one of the most ambitious companies that I've had the privilege of working with and looking at. It's developing new AI products and features, partnering with complementary companies like Genesis to leverage AI for greater value chain creation, and working with partners to bring its creations to market. And behind all of this is ServiceNow's channel team, which is using AI as one of its North Stars, rethinking the way it engages with partners and redefining the role of its partners in the empowerment of customers in their AI journey. I mean, I've been watching ServiceNow do this now for the last 2 years, and they have radically evolved in that time. They have moved from leveraging AI as a feature within its products and its platform to incorporating AI into its partner management systems to exporting AI into partner and product enhancing solutions that go to market. The new channel chief, Michael Park, the senior vice president of global partnerships and channels, has a great vision. He wants AI fluidity. He wants to have partners and their team on the same page, and they want to use AI as their guiding star, plotting the course forward. So we asked Michael Park to join us here in Changing Channels to tell us about what he's doing with his partner program, as well as his partners around the world, and what it means and what this is going to look like now and over the next several years. This is Changing Channels. I'm Larry Walsh. Let's get into it. Michael Park, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me, Larry.
So, look, we got a lot to talk about the things that are going on at ServiceNow, what you're doing there. But like, you're relatively new in the role. You were the chief marketing officer. How did you end up in a channel and partner role? What's the transition that happened?
Well, it's beyond service now. I mean, I've been in enterprise software for almost 30 years now, kind of in and out through product, marketing, sales roles. I was brought into ServiceNow to really help get the marketing engine going. And we're very strong on product, very strong on sales. And we needed to kind of strengthen up the brand and, how we kind of move out of just product transactions into more solutioning. So 5 years ago, I took on that effort and kind of helped put a new brand on the company. The new CMO, Collins, is doing a phenomenal job now, taking it to the next level. And during that time, my last campaign that I drove was put AI to work. That's when the Gen AI thing sparked. And I was watching this Gen AI thing come into the market, and I'm like, wow, the whole go to market is going to have to operate in a different way because the way people buy AI is just different than SaaS. So I put my hand up and I said, hey, I'd really like to go figure out how I can help the company do that. And so they put me in a very cool position, which was kind of a new role in the industry called AI go to market. And for the last year, I've been running all sales for all the AI products. The overlay team that basically built the motion for how do we ship product every 90 days where the capability is doubling every 90 days when, the business has been brought up shipping major product twice a year. And so we learned a lot. We got in front of a lot of customers. And of course, Gen AI has now even moved to agentic, and everything's been going great. We're in a very strong position on the products. Customer adoption is strong. Partners are activating around it. And about 4 months ago, we had our big knowledge event, and all of the metrics we were measuring were really strong. And leadership, Bill and the team, basically, I think said, "Hey, you know, um, we need to scale this. So why don't you lift out of the sales job and go do what you just did for us into the channel and go lever it up?" And so for the last 4 months, I've been literally traveling the world. I think somebody showed me on my app. I didn't know my app tracked it, but somebody showed me that I have flown about 120,000 miles in the last 100 days. And I've visited about 150 partners now. It's been fantastic. I mean, I see very clearly how the product and the platform architecture can be a new opportunity in this new ecosystem that's going to emerge around AI. And we see an opportunity to really have an AI-led ecosystem to write the playbook in the industry on what that actually means, which is pretty exciting. And I think it's going to represent lots of new ways for partners to come in on the ServiceNow ecosystem and create new business models that, in the past weren't feasible.
Well, you're bringing a really diverse background to this role. And as you clearly said, I mean, like I agree with you, and I've worked with ServiceNow for the better part of the last 2 years. I've had the opportunity to talk with your partners and work with your teams. It is a different organization in terms of not just in terms of the way it's developing its products and rolling them out, but it's also just in the ambition is kinetic. You're talking about bringing fusing into your partner program, your partner ecosystem, this AI fluid motion, and talk a little bit about what that means, because there's a thing about ambition that it can be energetic and can be overwhelming, and then infusing AI on top of it really does seem like just a whole lot going on. So tell us a little bit more about that.
There is a lot going on. Um, so Larry, I would look at it this way. The key that I've learned in the last 4 months, and certainly through 30 years of doing this, is to activate a channel. One, the product has to be clean. The cleaner the product is, the better the partner can differentiate. And so architecturally, we're in a unique position with single data model, single architecture, single platform, AI, not bolted on, but literally embedded at the core. So the architecture, the platform architecture has really evolved in a way that there's a data connection layer now, there's an AI tooling layer, and then there's a workflow experience layer, and all of it is accruing on one platform. So the natural benefit to the partner is that with one set of skill sets across the platform, they can render business outcomes in any department across the enterprise using the same tools and the same skills. So the business leverage, just think about that for a minute, the business leverage they can get off utilizing skills to deliver services around that is phenomenally good. Like done properly, operating cash flow margin will improve, utilization rates will improve, right? Net profit margin will improve. So there's all kinds of benefits financially. And so we have to figure out now, how do we move at AI speed? And so we have the natural benefit of the technology platform, but we're moving at AI speed. And what I mean by that is every 90 days, something's happening. I mean, a year ago, it was Gen AI. Now it's agentic. And actually, even agentic is now moving into agent-to-agent protocols where it's multi-platform. So it's very clear that the world's going to be a world where a partner can bring differentiated value based on the industry they know or the geographic location they're in or the segment they play in, and actually administer this platform to actually help orchestrate multi-system business transformation in a way that wasn't possible before. Gone are the days of writing custom integrations that cost a lot, that aren't upgradable. All that capability is implicit in the platform now. So the speed at which a partner is going to be able to bring a customer to value and monetize a set of services is high, and the ability for the partner to move from just strictly a project-based model to more of a recurring service model around the platform to deliver business outcomes is real and can be realized in a way that has never before been seen. So the challenge, Larry, is bringing all this, capability in a way that a partner can consume it, which means that if we want to operate at speed, we have to have like super crisp goals. They have to be super simple. The ServiceNow partner organization has to be easy to understand. The programs have to align to the goals. The incentives have to be well aligned to the customer outcome we're trying to drive. And then it's rinse and repeat with precision. And, I think that's what I'm trying to do right now is in the last 100 days, we've reduced the number of, the management span. We've taken the number of roles down to single digit. We've defined a set of scorecard metrics that can be rendered globally in every market, every industry, every product, but it's the same set of metrics. We've aligned those metrics to compensation. We've aligned those metrics to offers. We've aligned those metrics to a consolidated incentive program now. We had 14 to 18 incentive programs. I took that down to 4. So there's just like, there's demand gen, there's pre-sales vis-a-vis SIPs, there's the rebate on the transaction of the sale, and then there's, incentives for deployment. And so it's all just got to be simple. So, I'm trying to create the easy button for the partner to take the journey with us on AI because we know that the platform can deliver on that transformation, but all the other stuff around it has to be easy for the partner to move into.
Right. So I didn't attend Knowledge this year, but I attended it last year, and I can tell you, talking about taking friction out. I mean, there's a lot of excitement about what ServiceNow is developing. That biannual release cycle, but everything coming. There's always something new happening, which was I can tell you, partners always were saying to me that it's sometimes overwhelming. You talk about this in terms of like keeping your bearing with a compass, north, south, east, west, getting everybody on the same path. With so much happening at such a pace, how do you keep everybody, internally within your team? Because you have a big team, you have a complex program, and you also have a diverse ecosystem worldwide. How do you keep everyone on that same path?
You know, Clarity, Larry, simplicity, clarity, consistency, trust. Like these are the things like if you lift the hood for what we've been doing in the last 120 days, we've been building a world-class team. Like it's the same people, but there's a new leader and there's a different set of expectations. And, I'm bringing some new things to the table to just help absorb these things, with transparency. People need to know, they have to be part of something bigger than just coming to work. Uh, and so, the ability to come in with this incredible technology platform and to go to these partners and say, guys, we have a model for you. Like one of the things that we rolled out in the last 120 days is we have defined 5 routes to market by which we want the partner to choose which of the 5 routes like is central to your DNA where you can do your best work. Because, and there, just to kind of recap, consulting and implementation is one route, managed services is a second route, reseller is a third route, build, which is ISV and tech partners is a fourth route, and then hyperscaler is a fifth route. And so, this is like gravity. If you look at business models in the partner ecosystem, these are the gravity points of how partners do business. And so we need to understand, like, how does a partner monetize? What does an income statement look like when a partner is operating in C&I? How does it affect the balance sheet? What does operating cash flow look like? It's a financial understanding of these businesses. And then we have to say, there's this tech coming in, and there's this disruptor called AI coming in. If we look forward 3 years, what's going to be the effect of these things on those business models? And then we have to design, a path. And it's just a path that says, look, if you're going to take the journey with ServiceNow, this is how you need to get ready. Because in a world of AI, the thing about AI that I've come to appreciate in the last job I had, it's the great normalizer. Like AI is fueled by data. And so it's going to consume data across systems, across silos, across functions. And so, we're going to have to build an AI-led ecosystem where the world is delivered by multiple partners, and we're orchestrating across multiple partners, orchestrating across multiple systems to accelerate the business outcome that we can deliver to the customer. So we created this theme inside the company and inside my partner org, and I kind of rolled it out at the Global Partner, Summit last 2 weeks ago. The whole story falls on, six simple words: AI led, customer obsessed, partner powered. And so when anybody loses their path inside ServiceNow, we go back to those 6 words. We look at the scorecard we created together, which is 15 metrics that represent the health of the channel. And we just start problem solving, and we work as a team. The other thing I'll say is we've put a self constraint on ourselves to say we're not going to create more OpEx. We're going to actually use AI to really use the constraint of no more OpEx, to use AI to figure out how can we build on our platform AI agents. And we've, in the last 100 days, we stood up many that basically can identify how to take the work out of the job for the remedial work. Because when I put a human being in play in the partner ecosystem, I want them to be in front of the partner. I don't want them to be burdened with administrative work. So I want the agents to do the administrative work because they can and should, so we can release our valued resources to be with our partners, to help them in demand gen, to help them in proof of concepts, to help them on the transaction, or to help them in deployment across all these 5 routes to market. So yeah, it's super complicated, but when you actually pick it apart, it's not that complicated if you can actually create a framework that people can absorb. And then, of course, it's just frequent communication, because, we have to build a high rate of trust to move at speed within the partner organization, how the partner organization engages with the rest of ServiceNow, and also how ServiceNow engages with the partner ecosystem. So, I think the biggest challenge with all that is the change management, right? This all doesn't happen by itself. There are people with real thoughts and real emotion, and so creating the goal alignment, creating the energy around AI led, customer obsessed, partner powered, having the 5 routes to market to deliver against it, and then engaging constructively with our partners to say, this is our framework, Mr. or Mrs. Partner. Where do you want to play with us? This is going to be the game. And I'm really excited, Larry. I mean, I really do believe if we do our job right, we'll be able to rewrite the rules on the whole ecosystem and help them create a whole new business model.
Yeah, look, I can tell you're excited. This is, and I can feel. I mean, we're separated by a country at this point. So you're in New York, and I'm on the West Coast, which should be the opposite way around. But the it's you can feel that excitement in you. I want to come back to the management side of this and removing that burdensome work, because that's something I want to dig into a little bit more. But something you said was really interesting to me about taking it from the perspective of what does it look like on the partner's balance sheet on the other side. And I will tell you, the work that we do at Channelnomics, we find that a lot of channel leaders and program managers, they think about things in a very unidirectional, monolithic term. We're going to do X, you're going to do Y in return, and everybody's going to be happy, not taking in the totality of the cost to serve or the total expense that is associated with the go-to-market. In your travels, as you said, you've been running around the world. What have you learned from your partners about this? Is that what are the cost structures looking like differently to them as these transformations are going on, and how did that impact your thinking?
The patterns are really around whether a partner is project driven or managed services driven, or whether they're in their DNA a reseller, which is moving things at scale, or value added reseller, or an ISV, right? Like the economics are pretty universal when you look at those patterns, right? And they haven't changed for years. So really what I'm trying to do is engage our partners in that discussion and say, look, we know what that is. I mean, there's a certain profile that different partner classes actually look like. Ones that were born in IT versus ones that came out of accounting versus ones that grew up in SaaS versus the new ones that are coming up, as native AI players. Um, so I think it's just continuing to get out there and understand and talk and engage to understand where the pain is. And, AI is introducing pain in different ways, like pain and opportunity, right? Because like, just think about like a classic consulting and implementation partner who's used to actually implementing software. There's a way that software is actually implemented into a data center or onto this laptop or into the cloud service that is going to fundamentally change with AI agents, right? Like the sequence by which a software package is installed will no longer be done by a human being. The agent will do it. But in something like ServiceNow, the opportunity is actually bigger than that because that's remedial service. It's just doing grunt work. But the need of the new technology requires that the partner can connect to many data sets. It requires that the partner understand how to actually integrate third-party LLMs and modify and build agents. And they also have to go up to the workflow layer and understand, based on the industry knowledge or the local market knowledge, how to construct the right workflow experience for that particular buying center audience they're trying to drive. And all three of those can be administered on the ServiceNow platform at, at a high rate of value, because that's where the value creation for a partner is going to need to be in that C&I space. And so when I'm out in the field, Larry, that's the conversation I'm having with partners is, are you guys seeing the same thing? If you're not, why? And if you're committed, how can we help you get there? Because the programs we build, the QBRs we do with our partners, they have to be in a position where all that content is helping that partner take the step. And we've obviously, got to be in a position where our partner managers and our partner sellers and our partner business developers can actually help coach. So they also have a job to do, right? And the accountability is high in that they have to be player coach to help the partners in this transformation. So, I have to make sure that I'm also putting the right tools in place vis-a-vis AI agents to help administer how our organization can learn and move at AI speed as well. And so that's where I'm spending a lot of time, both internally and externally, on change management, because that's what it is. And, like, it's going to be hard for somebody who just kind of wants to stay put and do what they do. There are other jobs and potentially other places that people may need to go for that, because as you were saying, the journey we're on at ServiceNow is accelerating. It's not slowing down, it's accelerating. And so we're going to have to move faster to bring this value into the customer's hands. And, I think you've seen it, Larry. A lot of customers right now, that MIT report that came out was suggesting that 90% of, AI implementations right now are failing. And in my last job, I saw a lot of that. The customer didn't know how to measure the value, so they couldn't get a successful project done, or they underestimated the governance, or they totally whiffed or underestimated the degree of change management. They picked the wrong products. Turned out they were too expensive, or synthetic data demoed well, but when they put it in a production environment, the AI inference didn't work properly. There's all kinds of reasons that the projects are not working, and it's because we're early, right? And so that's the beauty of ServiceNow, is we've been able to get out of the box quickly with a package platform, and we actually have reference cases and examples. And so the key now is, how do I get those, nuggets of success that customers are laying down today into the market and into the hands of the channel, so they can start putting it in market with their customers, putting it into production quickly, learning from it, and then expanding. It's a different model than the old days, which was like, okay, let's build an implementation plan, and 3 years from now, maybe we hit the mark.
Yeah.
No. It's immediate value. Like, the POC has got to be delivered. There's got to be a working product in production in 30 to 90 days. And then from there, you can go to the next project. And that's how you get the utilization. That's how you get the new business model. But admittedly, it's scary for people because it's a different approach. It's a different mindset.
I think it's often referenced in the MIT report. I think I'm not surprised. I wasn't surprised by it at all. I mean, like you look at the reports that have come out of Anthropic, out of OpenAI and Microsoft about the current use cases from individuals and the jobs that will be either enhanced or disrupted. It's all kind of scary on the enterprise level. One of the things that we've noted over the past couple of years is that everybody's racing to earmark budget for AI, but they don't really know what they're supposed to do with it. And so they hear that to see that okay, they're not doing well. Well, okay, this is history repeating itself. We've seen this. We saw this in the cloud. When we were building that out. But I also think though is that ServiceNow has an unfair advantage here in that you are pioneering the use of eugenics. And I want to get into one of your partnership announcements in a minute, but you've also been applying this same approach to your partner management. And I've had several conversations with Divya Rajagopalan,
Mhm.
who you recently promoted to head of your channel strategy. Excellent choice. But she's been talking with us and showing us the things that you've done to automate, use AI to automate the partner management. How much of a significant, what's the significance of it? What's the return that you're seeing on those and that development and that investment so far?
I mean, it's still early days, Larry, and I can't, we're in a quiet period, so I can't really talk about, anything about Q3. But here's what I can say. Philosophically, if I'm going to ask the partner to walk with us on an AI-led partner-first ecosystem using our platform, I'm going to walk that talk.
Hmm.
So what Divya is doing for me and what the whole organization is doing right now is really doing some self-reflection on, okay, like, yeah, it was great that the company 5 years ago when I joined was, 3.5 billion and is now 13 billion and is going to be, well north of that in the future. But how smartly are we doing it? Because, like, I'll tell you, like, I don't know if you meet a lot of ServiceNow people, but everybody kind of looks a little crispy because everybody's running pretty hard. Um, and so, I just like, I'm like, okay, if you're a partner manager or a partner seller, if you're not living how AI is helping you be 5 times productive in your job every day and showing that to how the partner can do the same, then we're not walking the talk. And so I really believe that, Larry. And this is what we're driving hard. So we've even, one thing I can say is, we put an MBO into all our employees in my org that, AI fluency is going to be a condition of their job because I truly believe you have to walk the talk. And I also truly believe that in the future, if we are going to write the playbook, then for each of my employees' careers, like whether it's inside ServiceNow or not, like ServiceNow, global partner and channel team, at least in the construct of AI, it's going to need to be the place to be if you want to learn how to do AI. So I'm not saying, you're going to have to be an expert prompter, but I do expect that the application over time will supercharge the output and capability of our people who are facing the partners to help the partners supercharge themselves. I don't see any other way. Like you can't just record a academic video and put it out as certification. Like one of the things you'll see, Larry, from announcements we do, a lot of our bigger partners have been investing with us. ServiceNow themselves also, we have a program called Now on Now. Everything we ship, we deploy first inside ServiceNow. And as the transition's coming and we know that agentic is going to impact partner business models, we call it a client zero approach, but we want partners to adopt the ServiceNow workflow to administer how they automate their internal operations so that they can actually take the benefit of the platform as well as these changes come in. Because once they do that, it's really easy for them to talk to a customer and show the customer that tangible benefit that the AI platform that ServiceNow delivered is helping them on their top line and their bottom line. And that gives the customer more conviction as well, knowing that the partners walking the talk. So
Hmm.
it's all about walking the talk, Larry.
Well, I'll tell you what. While we still have time, I have two more things I want to talk with you about. And so the first one is that you talk about you mentioned this agent to agent compatibility that's already here. This is not just we're developing agents for our internal use. Now we're having agents talk to each other. And I was with Genesis a few weeks ago at their annual event and talking with their channel team. And of course, one of the announcements that they made was your partnership. So you have integrations of your agents talking to each other to solve common problems for your mutual customers. How important is that as a capability development for your partners in terms of their go to market and their customer relationships? And does it change the way that you have to think about working with Genesis or working with other third parties that are going to come along like that in order to maximize the opportunity?
It, the economics of these types of partnerships, Larry, will change. And what I mean by that is CCaaS, which is the space Genesis is in, and
Mm-hmm.
CRM, which is a new space for us, have been around for years. Why is it, Larry, that CCaaS and CRM have never come together in an integrated construct for a customer when any one of us, when we're calling a customer call center, the biggest challenge we have is getting a unified experience from that call center agent?
Mm-hmm.
Why? It's because the technology sucked. Like they came up in different silos, right? And an API was built that wasn't built so great. And then somebody has to go in and modify those APIs, build the connector, and then the customer's stuck in electronic concrete. And if they have to change it, it's super expensive. And it's like it was the limitation of the technology over the last 20 years. Now, agent to agent protocol comes in and says, okay, if a platform has cleanly depicted the agentic capability of the underlying capability that's in the application and the data structure and the workflow logic, then all I need to do is call that agent and it will do all the work and deliver the outcome to the other agent on the other side of the platform. And so now the integration of something like that was super complex for the last many years, now all of a sudden is like, oh, I just have to connect one agent to the other. And the economic exchange of value is like it will be predicated on this new protocol and it will be driven off entitlements and consumption of how many tokens are created. Different people will create different business models around that. And the effort now changes where the value creation is how to orchestrate these different agents to go get an outcome delivered for a customer and to do that as efficiently and as measurably impactful as possible.
Yeah, I think it's like it's an exciting development. I think that's going to open up some really interesting possibilities for the companies, the peer companies within your orbit, as well as the partners across the different tracks of your ecosystem. I want to close out on this though, because like I said, I wasn't kidding when I said I think ServiceNow is an unfair advantage because you're immersed in AI. You've made AI the centerpiece of your products, the centerpiece of your value proposition, of your go to market, as now as a centerpiece of your partner ecosystem. But a lot of your peers out there are struggling with this issue about how do they bring AI into their channel, into their partner relationships, into their operations. What advice, based on what you've seen so far, what advice would you give them?
Larry, like the one common pattern I see is the human's still in control, but the human has to be in a learning mindset, right? Like what even somebody who's like fairly fast, in understanding AI can't keep up with how fast AI is changing. I mean, I just was having this conversation with my son this morning. We were catching up, and he's like, "Dad, like like I'm like, how are you doing?" He's like, "I'm just amazed." He's like, "I've now like learned how to do these complex prompts that can do lots of things for me now." That he's like, when we were having this whole chat, because I'm like, "How are you using AI?" And he's like, it's just part of my life now. Like every decision I make, if I go to a movie, I'm prompting AI. Like, I'm like, well, what are you doing? Are you just using it for search? He's like, no, that's like what the beginners do. They prompt ChatGPT to ask a question. I'm like, well, what are you doing? He's like, I'm literally engaging with it like it's my personal assistant. Like, it schedules the movie and then it makes a reservation or tells me what the restaurants are and what reservations are available when I want to take, Noelle on a date. I'm like, this is interesting, right? Like the world is changing fast. And what's interesting is the younger generation's kind of coming up on it fast,
Hmm.
right? And so what we got to do is get people comfortable with the change. Like this is really going to be, can you get an organization to move on the change, right? Like even if you look at a customer in the old job I was in, some of the use cases that are really breaking out right now are around like global shared services, where a center of excellence at a large company is delivering IT, HR, procurement services to a multinational company with hundreds of thousands of employees. The way that's delivered, like in the old world, is like I have a center of excellence for IT, I have a center of excellence for HR, I have one for CRM, and they're all different app stacks. And so, as a receiver and employee, when I when I leverage that shared service, I have to go to a completely different experience for those things.
Hmm.
Well, with a platform like ServiceNow and with the AI capability, I can render those three applications to do what they do well without even seeing it as an employee, because now I'm just prompting with the AI agent for me and saying, "Hey, I need to book travel, submit these expenses, and order a new PC. Please go do that for me." And all of a sudden, it's a different game.
Yeah.
But that's really cool, right, Larry? But to make that happen, you have to sell the person that owns the HR stack, the person that owns the IT stack, the person that owns the procurement stack, that there's one system that can transcend with it. And that's change management, right? Because like you've asked these people to do this for many. That's what we say when we say north to south. That's north to south. When we say east to west, you have to go across that. And so, like, agility in how to adopt the technology and drive change is going to be able to. It's going to be hard because the people, not the machines. The people need to understand what north to south and east to west actually mean,
Hmm.
and that's the change management that needs to come to the table, because the technology is enabling it, but the people have to imagine it. You have to. I often say to my team, and I say this to partners all the time, is you want to make change, you have to see the change to be the change. If you can't see the change, you're going to have a hard time being the change.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that the takeaway that I keep hearing from people on this is that if you're not curious, if you're not in a constant learning mode, they're not going to be able to make the pivot. And I think that that is that's going to be the delimiter for many of us going forward. Whether it's on an individual basis or on a company level. Michael, it's been great having you here on Changing Channels. We appreciate you taking the time to speak with us.
It was great. Thanks for the time, Larry. Really appreciate it.
Well, that's about all the time we have for this edition of Changing Channels. Again, I want to thank our guest, Michael Park, the Senior Vice President of Global Partnerships and Channels at ServiceNow, for joining us. And as always, I want to thank all of you for joining us. We do Changing Channels to help share experiences and insights with everyone in the channel community to help make this part of the technology market a little bit better. If you like what we're doing here, please hit like, hit subscribe, tell your friends, and also check out our other podcasts, In the Margins and the Network Effect, as well as all the content and services we have for you at Channelnomics. We work in the channel for the channel to make it better for everyone. Until next time, I'm Larry Walsh.